Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Patsun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/slash relationship advice, where OP learned that sometimes opening the marriage is just a bad idea. Let's begin. Caught my wife using our open marriage as a cover for her affair. Posted by Reddit user Polaris104.
Married couple, male and female in lower 30s, married for 10 years. Recently, spouse admitted a crush on a good friend and colleague of the same gender, which is the first time spouse has experienced same-sex attraction, and I believe it took a lot of courage to admit to themselves, as well as discuss with me. Spouse requested a polyamorous relationship to explore this new aspect of their sexuality, stating it had nothing to do with being unhappy with our current relationship. We have discussed the concept of an open marriage on several occasions since we were dating, but nothing ever manifested due to us both having very intense careers and wanting to devote our limited time to each other. Less than 2 weeks from discussing spouse's feelings for coworker, they have progressed their physical relationship to kissing and petting, to which I had previously agreed, and have said they would like to have sex. Prior to initially discussing this with them and notifying me that they had discussed their reciprocal attraction, they have had several overnight stays together, staying over after parties rather than driving home, as well as mandatory work-related overnights that will continue with no way to avoid, which involve them sleeping in the same bed. Regarding our relationship, spouse has suddenly become much more attentive, communicative, and sexually excitable than at any other point in our relationship, some of which were potential benefits we had seen when researching the concept of poly relationships. I am feeling a large amount of unwanted jealousy regarding their relationship, which I completely agree with in theory, but have struggled with in practice. This is partially due to feeling like they progressed their relationship very quickly compared to previous hypothetical discussions we have had, and in my mind, it has retroactively placed their interactions over the past year in a different light. Having had a particularly large increase in overnight stays together, either at our house or new partners in the few weeks before suggesting open relationship to me. This has grown into a suspicion they may have had pre-existing intimate relationship and are using the open relationship as a cover. Aside from the overnight stays, reasons for this include purchase of phone privacy screen, never had in 15 years of knowing each other, migration of all their text interactions to a secured app. No, we don't read each other's messages, but text alert icon has noticeably changed for solely this person, with all other text still normal, and much more guarded communications with this person when I am around. New partner is a mutual friend who would come over for dinner multiple nights a week. I am open to my suspicions being completely unfounded and caused by paranoid jealousy that I should work through myself. I have enrolled in therapy to help accomplish this while maintaining their privacy, as they are not ready to have their new relationship be known amongst our other friends and colleagues. There is no explicit proof that spouse is or has violated our ground rules, but this perceived violation of trust from the above, as well as the multiple recent cancellations of our plans to spend with new partner, have shaken what I previously thought was a firm belief I would be fine with a poly relationship. Spouse denies any cheating or violations taking place and has agreed to take things slower for a bit to allow me to adjust and process, but due to how closely they work together, sometimes 12 to 13 hours a day, up to 6 days a week, I am very aware that if they wanted to continue their relationship without me knowing, it would be exceptionally easy to do. Any advice on working through jealousy, repairing trust, and supporting partner in exploring new aspects of their sexuality would be appreciated. For my part, although I am also free to pursue additional relationships, I currently do not have any other partners or immediate plans to start anything up. We also both agreed that at least at early stages, we both have veto power, and any potential additional partners are fully informed prior to initiating relationships. TLDR. New polyamorous relationship, would like to be supportive, but cannot shake jealousy and/or suspicion of cheating, would like advice on overcoming jealousy and trust building, with ideal goal of continuing poly relationship, rather than restricting spouse's desire for exploration.
Look, OP, I've never been in an open relationship before, so it's hard for me to really say or understand. But to give you my 2 cents, the actions your spouse took before and during the newly open relationship, it does seem a little suspicious to me. However, if you're wanting to say what you have, you'll need to open up the conversation and ask why. Why does she feel the need to hide her conversations from you? Or maybe she isn't hiding her conversations as much as ensuring the privacy of her other partner, who doesn't want you to see them exposed. It sounds pretty hurtful, actually. Like you're sitting there outside of your own marriage looking into your spouse's new relationship. That's really fucked up, in my opinion. But come on, OP. We know exactly what has been going on here. You're just in denial mode right now. Think about it. The timing was too convenient. If you ask me, her so called new relationship has been going on for quite some time. But she doesn't want to lose you. You know, her meal ticket. That's why she was very insistent in opening the marriage instead. Now, for OP's first update.
Wife and I were high school sweethearts, went to college together, professional school together, and are completing the final stages of our postgraduate training together. We have been married 8 years and together for 15 years. I completed the final training stage earlier than her, and am moving to a phase of my career where I signed a big contract, and in a couple of months my salary, currently 50,000-ish, will instantly increase 5 to 6 times and afford us a type of lifestyle neither of us has ever experienced. She has 2 years until something similar will happen to her, and she and I were unbelievably close to experiencing the rewards of all our years of supporting each other and delayed gratification. I negotiated my contract to last until she finishes her training, and she and I would get to decide for the first time where we wanted to go and live our dream life on our own terms. About a month ago, she approached me and told me she was experiencing a confusing physical attraction to a female coworker and close friend of hers. She has historically never been attracted to other women. She felt strongly enough about these feelings to bring it up to me, and I believed it took a lot of courage to admit it to herself and to talk to me about it as well, especially given her extremely religious conservative upbringing. We have talked in theory about polyamorous relationships, and although we had always been monogamous, she knew I have a firm belief that humans can have feelings for more than one person at once without those feelings being less valuable or less legitimate. She requested a conditional open marriage to explore these new developments in her sexuality. She spoke to her friend who reciprocated the attraction. We discussed ground rules that we could all agree on to allow them to explore things in a way that was clearly designed to keep our marriage as the final priority, and all parties agreed to proceed with full consent. I initially created this account to explore polyamory and open marriage subreddits. Any negative emotions I was experiencing, I interpreted as jealousy which I needed to work through, and I started seeing a therapist with the specific goal of processing those feelings to allow my wife, whom I implicitly trusted, the freedom I felt she deserved. On multiple occasions I even apologized to both of them for taking longer to get comfortable with the arrangement than I originally anticipated. I didn't need to do any of this for long because my rapidly developing suspicions that something was deeply wrong proved to be correct. After enough violations of our rules in a short period of time, coercing me into allowing her to push those boundaries further and faster than she knew I was comfortable with, and general sketchy and dishonest behavior, I couldn't ignore my suspicions anymore and looked through her phone one night while she was asleep. I felt genuinely awful violating her privacy like that, despite one of the ground rules of the arrangement being completely open communication, including the option to review each other's digital communication, which we both knew I never actually had any intention of doing. I found a staggering amount of unequivocal evidence that the two of them had been having an affair for an indeterminate amount of time, but definitely much longer than our open experiment. It appears they actually came up with the idea together in order to spend additional time together on top of what they were already doing behind my back. During the time I did know about, they were meeting far more often than I knew, having her girlfriend park down the street and sneak through the backyard to avoid triggering our security system so they could spend nights together while I'm out of town or working an overnight shift. Lying about having to stay late at work in order to spend time together, as well as having frequent intimate contact in their workplace during work hours. They were also intimate in our bed, didn't even change the sheets afterwards sometimes, which was a boundary that my wife herself had proposed we keep as something for only the two of us. Aside from crossing numerous physical boundaries and lying about the timeline, there were also messages in which they were making long-term plans for the next 2 years when my new job would frequently pull me away from home to essentially live together in our house for a significant portion of the year, using my increased income to fund things they wanted to do together. Even more shocking was a clear pattern that showed my wife to be the primary instigator and aggressor in their relationship. Several times her girlfriend showed some degree of hesitancy, to which my wife would tell her how she would fix this for them and that all she had to do was keep me happy enough to remain oblivious, and very soon they would have essentially free reign to have a life together. The texts I was reading sounded like some evil sociopath I had never met, especially not the love of my life to which I have devoted 15 years. When I confronted my wife about this yesterday, she claimed to have no idea what I was talking about. Even when presented with screenshots of her own words, she continued to try denying that she was clearly having a prolonged affair that she planned to continue and was going to use me for financial security while living a double life with her girlfriend. After hours of discussion, she finally admitted to everything. Obviously, I am completely lost right now. I have never made a single decision in my adult life that did not include thinking of us as a single unit, always working towards a shared goal that we were so close to achieving. I feel like I don't even know who this person is, and we have been together over half of our lives. Now that she has been caught, she claims that she has broken off her relationship with her girlfriend and is willing to do anything it takes to rebuild trust between us. To me, this seems impossible. Due to the nature of their jobs, she and the person she was cheating on me with will see each other on nearly a daily basis over the next 2 years, which will include multiple mandatory overnight stays together and potential to be assigned night shifts alone together for up to a month at a time. They have already cheated together while at work on multiple occasions, and my wife would text her afterwards about how she thought it was extra hot. Even if I reach a place where I want to try to fix things, in my mind there is no way that can happen while the two of them are still seeing each other on a daily basis. Leaving her current job essentially ends her career, leaving her with six-figure debt and no way to pay them off. She is trying to come up with some system of accountability that will make it possible to trust that she isn't continuing her affair at work, but I cannot think of anything that would possibly give me the level of reassurance I would need. Due to the extreme and complicated measures she has already used in the past to deceive me, and her clear ability to look me in the eye and lie in a way that made me believe her. So I am nearly certain we need to get a divorce. I wish I could say I was 100% certain, but I don't think my brain is capable of imagining a future without us being together. Despite knowing we need to split up, the nature of her affair presents additional complications. Her family is extremely religious, and there is a chance they would disown her due to her affair being with a woman. Her family also has seen the levels of love and support I've given over the years and thinks of me as a son. I'm probably closer to her parents than I am my own. Additionally, her workplace actions could either result in significant setback or termination, which would leave her with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, with much more limited ability to ever get it paid off. Somehow, despite everything she had done, I do not want to burn her personal life, family life, and career completely to the ground, so I am currently keeping it a secret from almost everyone else in our lives. Until we come up with an acceptable cover story for why this blissfully happy and successful couple suddenly get a divorce when we are on the verge of enjoying everything we have worked our whole lives to achieve. I feel like an idiot, I feel alone, and an anonymous wall of text on a subreddit is one of my only outlets to process the most painful experience of my life.
OP, I will say something that I have repeatedly said on this channel many times. Cheaters need to learn their lesson. They need to learn that their horrible actions have consequences. Stop fucking protecting her. It's already so obvious that she doesn't give a shit about you, so why the hell would you care what happens to her when karma finally comes knocking? Expose them to everyone, man. Why should you be the one suffering when she was the one that started this mess? Take it as a leverage on your divorce settlements. She showed you her true colors already. Don't waste more years of your life with someone who doesn't respect you and only wants you for your money. Don't believe they ended their relationship. Prepare an exit plan and lawyer up. You're still very young, OP, with a good career and a bright future. Also, keep the screenshots just in case she tries to badmouth you in the future. And now, for OP's final update.
Prior post got more attention than I had ever anticipated. I have had several people message me asking for updates. I hesitated to do too much updating in case she happened to find the post, but things have stabilized a bit more now. This includes me taking a few weeks to make sure I didn't make any big decisions without processing first. Mostly for the sake of saying I did everything I could, I did have a discussion about some form of ongoing relationship with my wife. While it would never be what it was, I briefly considered that maybe there was a tiny chance we could reach some agreement for reconciliation. Regardless of every potential scenario, her 100% non-negotiable term is that she continues seeing her current AP. Which is all I need to know and gives me an opportunity to leave with no further doubts as to it being the right thing to do. Laws where we live require a lengthy period of formal separation, so the first draft of this paperwork was completed as of last night. To her credit, she has been agreeable to nearly anything I've said I wanted to happen with our divorce proceedings. I have tried to be fair but firm in what I want to happen and how to split assets, and I'm coming out in the better financial situation between the two of us for sure. I'm also getting possession of both pets, which was maybe the most important thing for me. At present she has not gotten her own lawyer, and unless we encounter things that we cannot work out ourselves, she has cited no intention to do so. So far there aren't really any major disputes, but being the only one with legal representation at this time seems like a large advantage. Until the final draft is signed, I am staying in the house, separate bedrooms, largely for easier access to her, in order to discuss any further changes, and intend to move out shortly after they are finalized. Hopefully soon. As far as the job goes, I cancelled that contract. As no money had changed hands, and it was before my official start date, this was fairly uncomplicated. While it was a good opportunity, others are out there, and I'm talking to recruiters. Thinking I may look for something that involves some travel, since I don't have anyone anchoring me to one place. I think on some level completing separation paperwork made it feel more real for both of us. I think her previously described propensity for narcissism and manipulation had led her to feeling like I wouldn't actually leave. The idea that other people have our own agency and I can decide to leave while she thinks she is deciding if she wants me or her AP more seemed to catch her off guard. But it's real. As soon as the separation period is up, I'm filing for divorce. Friends of mine have been great and supportive. Family support by both our families has been overwhelmingly in my favor, and in these interactions, I've made efforts to keep discussion on what happened rather than the gender who it was with. Several people have offered for me to live with them while looking for work and figuring out my next move. I feel very privileged to have a supportive place to go and the resources to take some time to figure things out, and I cannot imagine how much harder this process would be without that. A friend took me out to Wingman for my first time, trying to make a romantic connection with a stranger in a bar. I was a kid when we got together, so doing any of this as an adult is a 100% new experience. I met some genuinely interesting people, generally just participated in a social experience that didn't have my former spouse as the center of it, and had a great time. I've been focusing on the logistics of things I need to do to move forward, trying to practice some degree of self-care, doing therapy, and getting back into hobbies that I had been neglecting for years. I am hopeful that my best days may still be ahead of me and appreciate the support of those in my life, as well as the random internet strangers who have reached out. I was about to put a paragraph here, updating about her potential work and personal fallout, then I remembered it's not my problem anymore. Cheers.
Look, she's still in the affair fog, so she's willing to be cooperative because she believes that her life will be so much better once the divorce is done. Don't do anything to shake her out of that, or, most likely, she will make things very difficult for you. For now, OP, do the 180 and simply move on with your life as if she's not a part of it. Easier access to her isn't really a good thing, man. If she comes out of the affair fog, it will be a huge liability to you. Move out, OP. And then, OP posted its ex's fallout down in the comments.
I have been trying to break the pattern of everything being about her, but I certainly take your point, so I lad in the reply. Her professional fallout appears to be very minimal so far. Some of her peers at work and at least one person in a supervisory role is aware, but so far as I know it is not common knowledge among everyone she works with. Realistically, as long as her AP doesn't decide to sell her out and claim she was coerced into the relationship while my wife was in a supervisory role, I wouldn't be surprised if there never is a big consequence. For family and personal, her mother is completely supportive of me and thinks her daughter is a bit of a monster, which has been more than a little satisfying. Her mother found out during a joint sit down with me and my wife both present to tell things from our perspectives, so I feel as though she got the closest thing to an absolutely true version of events possible. Her mom checks in on me daily, and we have had more contact than she has had with my wife, Though I've had to be clear there are certain details I cannot discuss with my mother-in-law for obvious reasons. She has not told her father or most other family members. I would anticipate that would be where a lot of negative consequences might occur, because I have been part of their family for 15 years and very well liked by them. I don't know what spin on things she might be using to tell her family, but at minimum, I know that her mom knows the actual events to straighten the record if needed. She has a few supportive friends, but most of our mutual friends who know have lost all respect for her and have also told me this is just a more extreme version of a pattern of manipulation that existed in our relationship for a long time. Financially, she has gone from thinking she would be able to continue spending our combined salary, which was about to approach $400,000, to having to figure out how she is going to live on just her own salary, $52,000-ish. She has never had to spend much time thinking about money, so I would imagine this will be highly challenging for her too. She is trying to stay in our current house, so her having to cut me checks every month to buy me out of my equity might be a bit delicious.
Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my YouTube channel for you to watch absolutely free. So consider clicking that super thanks just below the video title, or you can use my PayPal in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, make sure to subscribe to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.